Backing music was used illegally.
That XP was remarkable, unremarkable. He made the album to lift himself up and pull him out of the quagmire. Ain't we all, man? Ain't we all, brother?
I went on a stag do to London the other year.
Very special guest, XP from Flame Griller, the West Yorkshire rap crew. He's a top bloke. Buy everything he does.
The WYcast is made possible by people going on the XP homepage, www.exp.uk, and buying my albums on vinyl and CD and getting merch as well. So big thanks to everyone who has, and if you enjoy these podcasts, please consider helping out by going and buying some. Welcome to Series 3 of the WYcast. I had to rap one. Don't look at me like that. I'm XP, producer, and I rap. Leads the wires where I hung up my hi-hat. And I did decide that the scene needs a push. There's so many dope artists who don't speak enough. My wife got me a Zoom H2.
Cheers, love.
So I roam West Yorkshire where the scenery's lush and talk to those involved in the hip-hop scene and what made them turn to rap when they were pissed off teens. Is it just to help them let off steam, or are they trying to live off it, graft endlessly and get some green? Either way, it's sick to be making music in WY and reconnect the community with good vibes. Armed with a Zoom recorder, GoPro plus mics, I set up outside and meet people like Lunar C, a dude who does not need an introduction. One of West Yorkshire's most important exports over the last decade or more. An incredible MC, put out some incredible projects, worked with everyone up and down the country. Obviously, battle rap is a completely different thing. Changed the face of UK and global battle rap, all from Bradford, you know what I mean? Just unbelievable what the guys achieved. We managed to catch some time in 1 in 12 club, a sick spot in Bradford. The library at the top of there is an Anarchist library, and some of the volunteers were kind enough to let us in, so big up to Jimmy and Carl, and give us a bit of time up there. So yeah, enjoy. Lunar C.
Shit, are we in?
We're straight in, bro.
Fucking hell.
How the fuck are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, very good, man. Thanks for joining me at the Anarchist Library,
Yeah,
the
man.
1 in 12 club. One of the biggest in Europe, if not the biggest Anarchist library in Europe. I did a jam up here once. It was a
Really?
beautiful spot.
Is that a fact?
I believe
Biggest.
someone told me, but I Wikipedia'd it earlier, and I could only find that it's been opened by this anarchist who helped Egypt in the 1940s, and he opened this place in the 80s. So
Oh,
I was like,
really?
well, this place
Shit.
is sick as fuck. But I thought it'd be a good spot. I was thinking about Centenary Square, but I thought we'd probably get bothered all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Be nice to get 5 seconds with you, know what I mean? So
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Bro, I'm just going to briefly go off on one about you, and then we'll get into your origin story and stuff. But like,
Let's do it.
this is going to be the most watched WYcast, I believe, because your name is probably the biggest in WY. You've like built like such an amazing name for yourself through your battling, through your music, through just everything you've done, and it's just been a fucking honor to watch you just kill it and
Thank you.
be amazing at what you're doing lyrically, like just one of the best in the game, man. So yeah, and thanks for
Appreciate
putting
that.
Bradford and WY on the map the whole time you were doing it and working with all these artists up and down the UK. Always felt like you were always talking about Bradford, always representing West Yorkshire, and it's fucking sick that you did, man. So like, big
Appreciate
fuck
that,
up, man. So I know, we know tons about your origin story. It's all on Wikipedia as well. 21st of June 1990
You
birthday.
can't believe everything on Wikipedia, man.
The birthday's right there, right?
What, 24? Yeah.
Yeah.
I once went on my own Wikipedia because I'm a narcissist and found out that I came out as a homosexual in 2013
Did you? Yeah.
on my verified Twitter page.
Oh, fucking hell.
I never knew that about myself.
That's meant to link back, fucking hell. So, bro, like, so the first time I met you, I feel like it was 2007 when you were 16, 17, and you had your boy Rubik's with you,
Yes.
aka Blunt Frank.
Yes.
And it was at the Beehive through a mutual friend,
Right.
who you were couch surfing on at the time.
Yeah, I think I was following you on MySpace or something before that,
Defo.
because I definitely but that rings a bell as well, man.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
does
yeah.
ring a bell.
Well, you kind of got introduced to me by what's it, Scottish, big up Scottish, and I think he was just like, these guys spit, and I had a brief chat to you, and I think that's when we sort of eventually ended up back at my studio at Hyde Park, and you recorded Lunar C's 32 Funked Up Bars, which is the first thing
Wow, Funked Up
I
Bars.
ever heard you spit.
Really?
And yeah. That was the first time I'd
Shit.
ever heard you rap, and even then, like, there are certain times in my career when I've like listened to certain people or singers or whatever, and it was that moment of like, shit. Even then, because I know you fucking hate that shit, but I knew there was
You're like, shit, this guy's terrible.
but with some hard work, you'll go places. No, honestly, man, you had a grasp of it, and I'm interested to know, up to that meeting point, where did hip hop start for you then?
The earliest I can. the earliest I can remember is like, I don't know what the fuck I was listening to at the time, but I remember like being at school in an assembly and I used to have these dreams about getting up in assembly and just rapping to everyone. Like, it was like my dream. Like
Whoa.
as a like in
Is that
first
primary
school
school
when
as
I
well?
was really
Whoa.
young. And I remember being sat in assembly like, imagine if I could just get up and just rap to everyone. Because I remember thinking like being a rapper is the coolest thing you can possibly be.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I could have possibly have been. Nah, do you know what? I think by then I had like a couple of bits. Like I remember owning Who Let the Dogs Out on tape, which isn't really even
It's
rap
a hip-hop
music.
standard.
Yeah. But I also had like the first 3 projects I remember owning that ain't even a project, it was a single that I had on cassette. And I had Will Smith's Big Willie Style.
Classic.
And I had Ice-T's Home Invasion.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know why. Like,
don't know how you
what got me
acquired
onto
that
that
shit.
at all.
Mad.
But then my dad was always into hip-hop. And I think I always was trying to find things that my dad didn't have. And like trying to not just listen to what my dad liked and find my own little.
But genre-wise, so you'd want to listen to hip-hop, but it'd be something that he didn't own, you mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And then I remember being like probably 9 and I don't know, I might be getting it wrong, but I remember like liking Nelly and having his album and shit.
Country
and, like,
Grammar, though, was probably
Country
that era
Grammar,
which had
yeah.
some bangers on, man.
Yeah, and that was like, yeah, I remember being into it from a very early age. And then as I got older, I realised that the shit my dad was listening to was actually a bit better than the shit I was sort
Right,
of.
get you,
and
yeah.
I kind of started getting a grasp of like more, not underground, because it was stuff like Wu-Tang and stuff, but like more raw hip-hop and shit.
Yeah.
And I was starting to like get why that shit was better than the more commercial stuff.
So that was kind of first influence. It was your dad when you were growing up with the kind of playing Wu-Tang and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was like first influence because you grew up you got 2 brothers in it as well. So like, and Callum and Max both ended up really musical as well.
Yeah.
Like Mash Callum is a fucking sick beat maker and Max is a sick guitarist in a band, and that we were only talking about his band earlier.
Yeah, man.
And
Big up Sigmund Void.
yeah, who played here as well. But so yeah, musically, like you guys all seemed switched on as fuck. Like, was there history in the family genetically? Because it seemed like genetically you were all musical. Like,
Do you know what? Like, it's mad because music is pretty much. It sounds so corny, but like it's all we really cared about or had. Like,
it doesn't sound
in my
corny.
head.
I get that, man.
And my dad was completely obsessed with music, and I'd get woken up in the morning to music blasting in my house every day.
Yeah.
And
Would that be a welcome thing, or would you be like, fuck?
Oh, nah, not really. Like, obviously, sometimes it was sick, and we had a massive system in my living room, and like, but I remember a lot of times where I was like, oh, I wish you'd turn that shit down and let me sleep. So it wasn't always a positive thing.
Yeah.
But just to go back to, I remember also having a conversation with Max, my big brother, and he was like arguing with me over like who's the best rapper, and I remember him being like, nah, Busta Rhymes. And I think that's just because like that was like the fastest rapper who we knew.
Yeah.
But until from then on, it was Eminem. Eminem
Right.
came out, and then I was like, nah, this is
Slim
the
Shady LP
coolest
sort
shit
of
in the
era,
yeah.
yeah.
This is like the coolest shit in the world. And then I got to second school, maybe year 7 or 8, and I started trying to write. But then my dad found my notepad.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you remember how obviously
Bits
that was a
and pieces
lot
everywhere.
younger than when I met you. But when I first started rapping, I just wanted to say the most fucked up, like offensive things possible. So it was all just like vulgar, like, and just terrible.
Yeah.
So like my dad found that, and he was like, it's not even good. You're just saying mental. And because my dad was like the person who got me into that kind of shit, it just broke my heart.
Oh,
It
really?
just like made me not even want to do it anymore.
Bro.
So yeah. And then a few years later, I tried to write another verse. And I remember a bar where I was like, it was so shit. Something about, if you hit me with a metal bar, leave no mark, see the sparks, I'm Tony Stark. Or something. And I just realised, I think I'm in Wu-Tang. I think I am Ghostface Killer.
Yeah.
But I'm white and I'm from Bradford. So I need to
Tone it down a bit.
Yeah, I need to. Well, I just didn't try. I read it back. I remember one time I was like rapping it to myself in the street, and I was like, I'm a dickhead. What am I doing? And then I just stopped again. And then this is one question that I've just gone
Aye,
onto.
mate, this is what we're here for.
This will
This is
end
what
at
we're
the,
here for.
today, man. I'll tell you everything up until today just off that one question. But then I got kicked out of school when I think I was 15.
Right.
I got kicked out of school and I went to like Prue schools and that, which is like learning like what's it called? What does Prue stand for?
Pupil referral unit.
Yeah,
So it might have been an alternate provision if you weren't under security, or was it secure premises?
Yeah, like it was like a school and you had like fucking like 6 to 10 kids there, and it were all like the worst kids in Bradford.
Yeah.
Like it just mental.
Were you? Sorry, just to go back. Were you like? Did you cause a lot of trouble in school, or was it just that you were fucking around with the teachers, or what was it?
I was just a fucking clown, man. Like I have like bad ADHD and I'm really bad at like concentrating. Like a classroom environment. You know this about me, bro. Like a classroom environment for me is like impossible. I remember, just to veer off.
No.
I remember I was once like gonna do. I think I was about 25 or something, and I'd done like my rap battles and sort of made a little name for myself. And this guy tried to cast us for a rap musical. Right, so basically I've gone to this meeting and there was like all these other rappers. I think Blizzard might have been involved. I was supposed to be the main part.
Yeah.
And it was like, I might be getting the year wrong, but it was about the London riots. And
Yeah. This is the same one. This is the
Is
guy
it?
who did Three Lions. Or not
Right.
Three Lions. He did a Johnny Vegas film afterwards.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I know exactly. I was meant to do the music with Sonar Cousin. Anyway, carry on.
And I've been in this meeting and there's a fucking big table full of people. And I was just stood, I was supposed to be the main part as well. And
Yep.
I'm just stood against the wall looking at a painting, and I turned round and the meeting was still going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, like I'm still as gone as I was in school. So I've always
Still not
just
concentrating
been,
on it, yeah.
I'm so bad at like concentrating on one thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got kicked out of school. I was in and out of Prue schools. I couldn't even stay in one of them for, I think the most I went to one was twice.
Jesus.
And then I ended up fucking MAPA.
Yes.
So, which is like a sort of, they've got a recording studio. It was like a youth club that I always went to when I was growing up.
It's Bradford ways as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, in Bradford. Big up Jerry Crawford. He used to run the studio. But it's also like I don't even know what to call it, but I did a course there, and the only fucking, I'm skipping over a little bit because I had been there before. When after school I used to get sent there.
Yeah.
When my mum was working, and I'd go and sit in the studio and watch local rappers record and stuff. So I knew Jerry from being like fucking 8, 9 years old, and he
Sick.
remembered me.
Oh, nice.
So when I'm there at like 15, we're cool. The only thing we get as a reward for being good, because we're a bunch of bad kids who've been kicked out of school, was studio time. And I didn't do music at this point. I'd
Right.
fucked it off years ago. Like, I say fucked it off, I'd written 2 free verses in my life.
Yeah. One of which your dad dissed. And like,
Yeah. And all these kids were doing like bassline verses and
Bradford.
like leaning towards grime, some of them, whatever.
Yep.
But we've got studio time, so I'm just like, fuck it, write a verse. I've jumped on this tune with everyone, like a cypher tune. And the lads who were already rapping, there was like, nah, that ain't your verse. And there was a lad there who was spitting a verse that wasn't his. He was spitting a Tom Zanetti verse on a grime song. And I was like, mate, that's not your verse. Like, don't judge me by your standards. And they was all like, nah, that can't be your first full verse. Because I would tell him, like, I ain't even recorded a verse before. Like, but I'm actually lying there, because when I went to the youth club when I was like 9, me and my 2 brothers and another lad called Benno, who I used to be mates with, recorded a song called Kick Buttica when I was like fucking 9 or something.
Yeah.
And the chorus, we all had a verse each, but it was just one line that we all just did in a different flow.
Yeah.
And that I went kick buttica, kick buttica all over the street, and I was 9. And we called his little crew Zonk. And so that's how Jerry remembered me, and he remembered the fucking song.
Kick Buttica kid.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He still to this day he'll say it to me if I see him in the street.
Sick.
But yeah, I've recorded this verse and they're all like, oh, nah, there's no way that that's your first verse, or
Because
that's even
blew
your
them away,
verse.
sort of thing, because they were impressed by
Because
it.
they were shit. And
Yeah, noticeably shit.
So then I was like, oh shit, maybe this is some. And then I just got obsessed, and it was all I thought about day in, day out. By the time I'd met you,
You were on
I
it.
was like isolating myself because I'd put a few things out on MySpace and realized I was not there yet. So I was like, fuck this. Stop putting shit out, wait until you're good enough. And I was so hard on myself. I'd sit in every day, and like when you was talking about when I was like surf surfing and shit, I was fucking doing bits to make money that I shouldn't have been doing and stuff like that. But other than that, I was sat on a couch writing bars, not recording it, trying to like completely 24/7 obsessed with just getting better at writing. And that's why when I started doing it, I think my bars was kind of there, like I had punchlines, but my flow and my recording abilities and my delivery and all them things came a bit later.
Yeah, well, they're the sort of things that you kind of like work on without wanting to, because it's going to get cheesy here, brother. I apologize, but it is God-given, your talent. When you came to me, you're recording and your flow may be rough around the edges, but fundamentally the things you were writing, the way that you understood English and the way that you would flip a word or whatever was like, fuck, how old is this kid? It's impressive, and obviously like blew them grime lot away or what have you. What do you think it is? We'll keep moving on about the origin story, but what do you think it is about? Because you seem to have an obsession with words. I remember when we were first recording in 08 or whatever, around mine and Matty's, and like you would be almost trying to do as many multi-syllables and almost be showing me like homework, like, look, Ben, I did like 11 here.
I got silly.
Was word games always a thing? Did you care about words when you were a kid?
You know what, man? It's weird you asked me that, because my earliest memory is like bothering my parents constantly. And one particular memory was like, my mum was in the bath, and I remember it was like the first time I realised that I was annoying, because I was like walking in, and I was really fucking young, like I must have been like 5, and I'm walking in the bath, into the bathroom every 2 minutes while she's I'm going, oh, what does this word mean? What does this word mean? What does this? And I remember her being, and I was like, oh shit, I'm an annoying person. That was how I was when I was a kid. Like I was just obsessed with words, constantly asking, like, what shit mean? I don't know why. I don't know.
It's a strange thing, isn't it? But and they always soaked in. So you were still doing that when you were 17. There'd be a word, and a tricky word, not just some, it would, a big word. It's not like just what does fucking sport mean or something. It was a big word, and you would then take that. You'd learn what that word was, and then you'd use it in a bar. You'd use it correctly, and then it would like.
And then I'd forget what it means. I've done that so many times because I have such a bad memory. That like, and to be honest, I'm not as much like that anymore. Like I don't try to use like, because it's unnatural. Like I try to just like I like to be able to like speak on a song how I would in real life. Or it's a lot more natural. But there was a point where I was sort of trying to I was learning shit through writing, because I'd know a word and I might not know the meaning, and then I'd just turn it into a bar. And then I'd literally forget what it means. I've listened to verses and I'll be like, I don't even know what that means.
Spitting them on stage and you're like, this is bullshit.
I don't even know what I'm saying. But I know it makes sense because I researched it at the time.
So MAPA, how many tracks did you do out of there? Was it like, how long were you sort of operating within MAPA? Because I think I caught you just after you'd sort of finished working with them, or...
I can't really remember, bro. I think I was there for a year, maybe.
Did you were you like, once you got the recording time, you were like, this is sick, I'm in.
Man. It's literally all I cared about. And it was like up until now, really.
Yeah. So how did you meet? Because obviously you came to me with HashFinger, Angry Nick, and then obviously you knew Rubik's as well. So how did you start moving in the circuits of like people who were making music, rappers themselves? Like what was...
Well, obviously I met you, and then I've always known Dr Crobe since being a kid because he worked with my uncle.
Ah, right.
And I never knew he was Dr Crobe. And I'd seen his graffiti all over.
No, you
didn't know he rapped.
Yeah.
And then one day I've been at my uncle's work, and I was in like some gifted and talented thing, like a summer thing through school for like art. Yeah. That was like my first obsession before music.
Yeah.
And they were getting graffiti artists to come in and like teach us how to do graffiti and shit.
Sick.
And one of them was like, oh, you should come to this legal graffiti thing in Odsal in a subway. Dr Crobe's gonna be there.
Nice.
So I was like, oh shit, that's the guy who fucking his tags are everywhere. Like I could draw his tag.
Yeah.
Like literally by memory.
Nice.
Because I saw it that often. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been chilling at my uncle's work, which I used to do. They had like a website company where they'd all just chill, and it was just a bit of a fucking youth club, really. Like they'd all mess about and just smoke weed, and fucking they ended up, yeah, it all went to shit, but it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
But Dr Crobe worked there, and I knew him, and I was just chatting shit. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this legal graffiti thing. Dr Crobe's gonna be there, and they all just looked up at me and was like, what? I was like, oh yeah, apparently he's gonna be there. And I was like, Dr Crobe? It was like, he's not, you know. Like Frank, who's Dr Crobe, have I just grassed him up? Have I just yeah. So he's been like, he's not gonna be there, you know. And I was like, nah. He was like, do you mean the guy? I said, bro, I could show you his tag, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and he wrote it next to it.
Oh,
and I was like,
Batman
nah,
reveals
what
himself.
the fuck?
Sick.
Yeah. And then he was like, nah. And then I remember shortly after that, my uncle was like, oh, you know if Frank raps as well? I was like, eh. And then I heard his music, and I was like,
Legal
and he was like,
operator,
yeah, he
was it
just sits there at work and like freestyles sometimes and shit.
Yeah.
So
Mad.
then I realised, oh shit, like there is actually rappers in Bradford and stuff. And
So he must have been putting on bread bins and stuff. Did you ever go to bread bins, or were you like right age
I
for
think
that?
I think I made it to. I'm not even sure if I'm even made it to one of them. You know, I think
Fair
it might
enough.
have ended just before.
Age
I remember
was a-
being at an event where he was, but either I made the last one or it was a different event.
Yeah,
But I remember it coming to an end around the time I was.
coming up. Yeah.
So after that, I met HashFinger through a mate, and we chilled together. And he didn't like me because I was just nuts, and he's a very like quiet, reserved person, which is mad because now he's like my best friend.
Yeah.
But he'd been told about me and like warned that I'm fucked in my head. And I didn't know this till years later, and it proper upset me. But it was, and I knew he didn't like me. It was weird how like he'd never talk to me when we were chilling. Like it was so weird. We had like the same mate, and he'd sit at one side of the room smoking weed, and I'd sit, and we just
Really?
wouldn't talk to each other.
Fuck.
Like we didn't get on.
God.
Which is fucking mental now.
That's
because,
mental,
like,
yeah.
we're really good mates.
And that's not his story from the skate. He's just like, yeah, mate, with the skate park, sick guy who smokes some weed.
Nah,
Everything's cool.
talk shit. He was a hater. So yeah, but he'd been told by a mutual friend who was mate. So the guy should have been talking shit, but also what he was saying were true. I was a bit fucked in my head. But I hit him up one day and I was like, yo, bro, your beats are sick. We should do something. And his response just let me know that he doesn't want anything to
He
do with me.
remembers that bit.
And that he just thinks I'm a joker, and he definitely presumed that I'd just be terrible at
He
rapping.
says you still bring up now that you parted you
Yeah,
off.
he did palm me off, man. He did. And then he heard me rapping, and he was like, "Oh shit! Like he's actually decent." And then we started like doing a few bits, and over the years, become like obviously, I met Nick through him, and us three were like inseparable for a long time.
Well, that was it. It was missing people. So after MAPA, and I guess you were sofa surfing enough that you could be back and forth to Hyde Park a fair bit. And I think HashFinger had started a course out there. I think he did Leeds College of Music, and Angry Nick was definitely on a photography course, wasn't he? And then the three of you would rock up at my house, mine and Matty's house in Hyde Park.
Yeah.
And we had a little converted side room of my bedroom with a fucking mattress to deaden it.
Which I used to sleep on sometimes.
Yeah, we used to put on the mattress down,
That
and then
was-
put it back up to sound dead in the room.
Amazing. Go to sleep on the soundproofing mattress, wake up and record music. That was
Fucking sick. Nick would come round with some bacon, we'd have some breakfast, and we'd just record pretty much all day. It was sick.
eat bare pasta and pesto. That's what I remember about the
Cheap
days.
as chips. You can't go wrong, man. And like, we recorded so much shit, and that was kind of like that was because I had the concept for Sinoptic Music at the time, but I had only really put mine and J&D stuff out on there. And then you three rocked up, and it's like, it makes perfect sense that it goes under the Sinoptic Music label. And we got this Missing People crew, which was you guys, and we were doing some. I remember we did some gigs, and I think I put you on for like your first couple of gigs maybe. maybe. So there was certainly one at Disgracelands, I remember was a good do, where all of us were on stage. There was one at Mr. Ben's in Leeds, which is long since gone. But we were just all those ancient times, man. But like we were all cutting our teeth. Like I was still, you know, you might have been younger than me, but I was still like finding my way in music myself.
Yeah, of course.
It was you were the first group of people that I properly recorded other than myself. And
Really?
I sort of learned a lot about recording.
I didn't really realise that at the time.
Yeah. I knew bits and pieces. I knew more than you how to record, but that's because you hadn't recorded yourself. So it's like, but other than that, like, and I was learning the whole time what worked and what didn't, and whether to play Westwood sound effects down someone's headphones or not during
I remember that.
if they're pissing me off. But I remember it just being like a fertile period of just like having fun, fucking about, making a lot of music, throwing shit at a wall. And then I moved out and moved into my house with my now wife, and we recorded what was your first album?
Lunar CD.
Later on, you refused to call that your first album. But
Well, that's why I called it Lunar C though, because Right, so this was a weird thing because you had a certain sort of attitude towards it, and I sort of didn't.
You'd always seen that as like an
you
EP
produced the album pretty much. I think you did.
I did a lot of the tracks. HashFinger did one or two. I think Ant did one. J&D did Donkey Punch.
Yeah. But you recorded it all. Yeah. I think you mixed it.
Defo,
and you was like
put it out.
Pretty much the other half of the project.
Yeah.
So, and I obviously valued your opinion on certain things more than mine because you were more experienced than me.
Yeah.
But I also was a bit apprehensive at first to make an album. But I think your standpoint on it was like, look, if you don't think it's going to be good, and like, if you think it's good enough, call it a fucking album. Which made total sense to me. But I was just so apprehensive, which is why I called it the Lunar CD. Because I was like, nah, it's just a CD.
And I think fair dues, if we look back at what you were saying when you were 16 and rapping and you were like, I need to be better before I put music out. You've obviously had that sort of standpoint. It's like, is it good enough? Is it good enough?
I still
totally
felt like that at
it,
that point where I was like, I don't think I'm ready for my debut album. But I also agreed with you in that sense.
Well, it was. Do you know what? Fundamentally, it was a physical product that
who cares what you call it?
No one gives a shit.
Exactly.
Really. And it was a physical product that we could finally sell on Sinoptic Music, and you could sell at gigs and all the rest of it. And it was good to have that out.
Yeah.
And even then, and this is the truth of the matter, it was hard. It was a hard sell, and not through any. It was just because like people would be like not asked about buying music still as they are now, sort of thing. But it suddenly stopped being a hard sell at the point you did your first battle.
Right,
So and that's kind of what I wanted to go, because there was nearly a battle before Bloodstro. I remember I remember driving you to Don't Flop, or maybe I was in the car with Nick and we drove anyway, and you were meant to battle some guy and he flaked.
Yeah.
You ended up doing some horrible freestyle outside the venue that didn't mean fuck all.
Right, that's a story. So I went there with one of my mates who I won't name because they just sniffed loads of ket and then threw up outside in front of everyone and had to get thrown in a car and taken home, which I was like mad embarrassed about because like the battle scene at the time I was obsessed. This is another thing, like aside from music, like battle rap was a mad obsession for me.
Actually let's rewind about when did you get into that, because we used to sit in my house and you'd show me like Grind Time, King of the Dot, all Lush Ones battles and stuff like that, and we got well into some even like listening to I remember OZ really familiarly, who's just some Canadian rapper who did the person swing viral.
Oh my god.
And shit like that, and that was all through you. So when did you first when did you first get into the idea of battling?
I think it was like early jump off videos of like Thesaurus and Immaculate doing like doubles battles,
legends
like,
in the game, man.
All them freestyle battles and shit, and like even like Professor Green, fucking Stig of the Dump.
Cosine versus Stig of the Dump, I remember, was a classic from 18 years ago.
And then obviously Grind Time, bro. Like that's when it sort of changed into everyone's cheating and writing for freestyle battles, so let's all just write.
Yeah.
That evolution of battle rap just was fucking fascinating to me because I don't know, I was just obsessed with it, and it battle rap still to this day for me, in terms of, which is not the be all and end all in music at all. I think it should sound good before anything, but in terms of like punchlines and creative writing and saying something, maybe not saying something in terms of sort of having opinions or like saying anything meaningful, but saying something clever and just being creative in your writing, nothing compares to battle rap to me. Like it's just insane how amazing some of them people are to this day, and it's even evolved like now. It just fucking, I was just obsessed.
Just clicked with you.
Yeah, and I was the biggest battle nerd in the world. Like, I watched every battle that come out on every league at that point.
Yep.
And obviously, that'd be impossible to do now because there is so many leagues and stuff. But at the time, I was up on everything.
Yeah,
like,
as soon as
nothing
it
got
came out.
past me.
Yeah.
So it was weird, mate, because when it got to that day, I was so hyped to do my first battle at Don't Flop. It was like a fucking dream come true to even be able to do it. And then my guy didn't turn up. My mate got put in a car, and I'm just stood there embarrassed. Everyone's like chatting shit about my friend, like. So I'm stood there, and I've just started drinking, bro, all day, just drinking.
And you were off booze at that point. As
Yeah,
you were.
yeah.
I remember you were like, no
yeah,
booze.
I never
like,
really drank, did I?
Because it
So
fucked you
I've
up.
just drank all day, like pissed off, because I'm like, I fucked it here.
I remember you being mad.
And then
pissed
I
off.
just fucked it even worse, because someone was just like, oh, just do a freestyle battle against this guy. And I'm stood there, and there's all these rappers who I've only just met that day. Like, I remember there was like Joker Star and like Flash, who I'd only met a few times, and fucking all these people who I sort of like looked up to. And I'm doing this freestyle battle, and as I'm doing it, I'm like, what am I even saying here? Like, and I didn't really drink.
That's
innit?
the worst time to
So
be.
I'm pissed out of my head. So I'm literally stood there thinking, I'm ruining my chance as we speak. Like, and that's all I could think as I were
like
doing
you-
it.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember calling him a purple wanker or something. And he didn't have any purple clothes on or anything.
Nice.
Like, there was no relevance to the word purple. And I was like, yeah, now I fucked it. Like, I've actually fucked this. And I went home, bro. And I was fucking devastated.
You were
I was
devastated, I
like, mate,
remember.
I've ruined it. Because up until then, like, Nick was like in my ear, like, you realise if you do battle rap, you'll be the guy.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, mate, I
We
don't know.
all knew that that what ended up happening was probably going to happen
Yeah.
because of the way you wrote. But I don't know whether you remember this, but I emailed her before you even did that first battle, and I was trying to get dumbfounded into the
Whoa,
country
yeah,
to
yeah.
battle you, and then I'd put on a gig and then put the money in for
Yes.
Dumbfounded to perform and Synoptic and stuff.
Shit.
And got back to me, which is very nice of him, and said, that's cool, but like I can't really be putting in debut battlers in that situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you can totally understand
And
that.
I didn't.
It's an
It's not like
insult
I was
to
a
Dumbfounded.
massive music artist then
Yeah,
either. Like,
yeah, but I just thought if you can just go straight in at the top level,
Yeah,
be
yeah.
amazing against Dumbfounded, which you would have been like given the time and the space, but like it just want to be
cool, man.
defo. But I understand why it didn't go ahead like that.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I went home and I was like, I've ruined it. But that like lit a fire under me because I was like, because I'd had that kick in the bollocks and felt like I'd fucked it. I was like, nah, if I get another chance to go on there, like
That's
I'm
sick.
Fucking
A lot of people would give up and fuck it off. I'm just not battle.
there was
I'm not
no
battle
way
guy.
I could do that.
Sick
I
guy.
was so devastated. But I was like, do you know what? It was just a stupid freestyle battle outside. If I come back and I get a proper battle and it goes on YouTube and I'll kill it. And they got back to me and they was like, oh, we got this guy Bloodstraw. Shouts to Bloodstraw as well. Fucking absolute
a very good sport, considering.
proper cool guy as well, man. Like I still chat to him now and again. to this
Legend.
day. Really cool guy and a massive part of the battle scene as well now. Like he's fucking turned it around. Like he pretty much runs a lot of premier battles
I
and
never
like
did know that.
hosts
That's so
loads of
sick.
it. Nah, he's a proper cool guy, man.
Very cool,
I
man.
think he was very young and naive about battle rap as I was.
Was it his debut too?
Yeah, yeah.
So you were both rare enough.
Nah, yeah, and you have to do it to know. We were talking about this with like stand-up comedy as well. There's no like, you have to just jump in feet first, and you have no idea how you don't know how you're gonna deal with the atmosphere or like how you're gonna deal with someone in your face, fucking trying to make you look a cunt. Like
Yeah.
it's a fucking scary thing to do.
Yeah.
So he came at it at a completely different angle from me, which I was kind of expecting because I'd listened to a few of his tunes and stuff, and I kind of knew he was going to come with that aggressive shit, and I knew what my style was going to be before I even did it. Like
Yeah.
I knew I was just going to be roasting people.
Yeah.
So and they tried to cancel the battle before it happened, and I remember begging Chronicle like, bro, this needs to happen because I know it's going to be amazing. Like, and he was like, oh no, you need to battle someone else like who's more suited to your style. And I was like, trust me, this is going to be
gonna go
fucking
well.
like this is going to be sick. Do you know what I mean? So luckily he was like, all right, and no worries. But afterwards, like, I'm picking who you battled. I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah, went way better than I ever imagined.
Astronomical.
Yeah, and I hate saying this because it makes me sound like a cock, but I went from being the biggest battle geek in the world to being like the biggest battle rapper in England in
Definitely.
like
100%.
maybe 2 battles. You know what I mean?
Unreal.
And it was weird.
Yeah.
Because from feeling like I've completely fucked it to being like, whoa, that went. I don't even deserve the hype I'm getting right now after like 1 or 2 battles. It was bizarre.
I think you kind of did.
I think the timing of it was amazing for me. Like
Perfect timing. Like, and also like, so one of the reasons I knew you were going to be good before when I was emailing about Dumbfounded and shit, we'd actually put a little battle on when we were doing some mentoring. So like later on when we worked together, we did some mentoring of like younger people in Bradford and the surrounding areas, people who there, including Section 5, who I've done a podcast with, big up him, and plenty of others. And there was a little bit of like undercurrent of beef between who's whack and who's not.
It was so funny, man.
And we ended up putting this battle on where Section 5 battled Cam Contraband and you battled a lad called Fat Smoke.
Well, yeah.
And I sort of doing my shit impression of Lush One, trying to like, you know, introduce the battles, and then we filmed it, and a few people it was like proper fakery, like, oh yeah, and over to the judges and shit. But it still
it
showed.
was just a lot of people who we knew. Like.
Yeah. But it was still like, it still showed. I think after all that, if you take your lines in isolation, you can see what you were capable of, even during that shit.
There were little bits, man, but it was awkward to watch. But yeah, I get you. That was a funny situation because, like I said, I just used to rap in the park, like
that Shipley Park or whatever.
Yeah. With Says, and they'd be
Phoenix
like, big up Phoenix, man. They'd end up being like 10, 15 kids just stood round, and they were all like mad interested in rapping and shit. And so I contacted you because I knew you had links in like the youth work sort of thing, and there was a lot more funding then.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting a unit, didn't we? And like teaching these kids how to fucking
had a recording space. People would just come through with their bars and we just get
pretty much teaching kids. Some of them couldn't even really write.
Yeah.
Like, and we were teaching them how to record and stuff, and like it was a sick experience. But then it all just changed and sort of split into like 2 crews,
factions. Yeah.
Because I'm like a kid at the time anyway. I shouldn't have really been like mentoring anyone.
But people respected, I think, your ability so much that it was really like I was just important you were there.
So it split into like 2 crews, like me and my mates, fly tippers, and then U-Dot, who was like them lot.
Yeah.
And we all just decided we hated each other, like, and it was the most unprofessional thing in the world. And then, it ended up one day, I don't know if you remember this, but this is why we all stood on one side of the room and they all stood on the other side of the room. And we had like a freestyle battle, but it was like 7 versus 7.
Was that in a mentor? Was that during one of the sessions? Right.
It was like 7 people versus like 7 to 10 people like on the other side of the room.
Right.
And I just started freestyling and I just ran through all of them. And then there was like a couple who weren't even in the battle, and I gave them it worse than the ones who. So I'm like, nah, you aren't getting out of this. So I'm just giving it to this Fat Smoke guy who's like a fucking fully grown big geezer.
Yeah, he were a few
and
years
like older than me.
Yeah.
And he's there like pretty much being taught by me, who knows fuck all anyway. It was all a ridiculous situation.
Yeah.
And he did not like it at all.
No.
Big up Fat Smoke as well, man. He's like, no, I'm not gonna like sit and talk shit. Like, he was fucking probably right because he wasn't even in the battle, and I was talking shit.
I don't remember many lyrics from my whole life of listening to people spit bars, but I could spit Fat Smoke's first few bars of that battle.
Big up Fat Smoke,
iconic.
man, because he gave me my start effectively, bro. Fucking, he's a big part of it. So, like, I said some shit to him, whatever. He's rung me like the next night or something, and that night, and I'm in my flat, and he's like, yo, we have to sort this out. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not fighting you because you'll just pick me up and slam me on my head because you're fucking massive. So I was like, well, bro, like, we were just freestyling. Like, what do you want me to do, mate? Do you know what I mean? He was like, well, you've got to battle me then. And I was like,
I didn't even know he called you out in the first
it was so serious as well. It's so ridiculous. But we were young, man. We were young. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you've got to battle me then. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. And we set it up, and it was
iconic. Check out the Battle of Bradford on YouTube, which we took down immediately. Well, no, but when it became relevant for us to take it down, we took it down. And I think within 2 days, someone who had downloaded the whole thing put it up.
Yeah.
It's fucking god awful, but it's like,
it's
it
terrible.
is what it is.
It's funny. It's funny.
But it kind of set you up and sort of made everyone realise that you were the fucking real deal. And well, everyone in WY who knew you knew that when you went and battled, it was going to go the way it fucking did.
Yeah, I made friends through that shit because, like, I remember, like, Jack Flash just constantly messaging me bars for it to be like, this is the funniest video I've ever watched. Like, David, yeah, so it's funny, man.
So yeah, the Bloodstroke battle. Thankfully, you wore a Sinoptic T-shirt that day,
Yeah.
which I'm very grateful because of the amount of views that got. That I don't know whether many people know, but like Flame Griller got quite big in a place called Corby in Northamptonshire, where we ended up playing loads of gigs and doing really well, and they were all really welcoming to us. And that was because of your fucking T-shirt.
Oh, sick.
Because some guy who everyone listened to for the hip hop scene saw that battle, Googled Sinoptic, found us,
Oh,
told
that's
us
cool,
about it,
man.
you know, and shit like that. And I always think how much certain things matter, you know, if you represent in certain places, and you know, and you were obviously representing the label while you're out there, and it fucking meant a lot, you know what I mean? So it put us on your shoulder, put us on the map thanks to you and stuff like that. So it was all massive. And during the time we were doing the WYcypher, I think we just pretty much started doing the cypher and the freestyle and stuff that we were doing at the time that you started Battle and Bloodstroke. So we kind of watched that go from, you know, no one really knowing about you to suddenly being one of the biggest names in the UK for, you know what I mean, sought after as
Yeah,
fuck.
strange, bro. And yeah, the WYcypher was fucking sick. Like, that's another thing that was like a big part of the beginnings of this shit, man.
Well, you met a lot of people through that as well. Probably you'll have met Wiggs through that, and who you did a lot of work with down the line, and then obviously MAPA, who you ended up like doing proper battling with and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what was the what was the feeling after Bloodstroke? Like, how did you cope with it all? Because as you said, you went from a battle nerd to like the most wanted.
Obviously, it gave me like this confidence for a while, and I was gassed and just buzzing that like it was like. I don't know, man. It was sick. Like, obviously, I was fucking young, and the people who. It was weird as fuck. It was so bizarre, but like, obviously, at the time, I was so gassed and just fucking gave me this confidence and probably a tiny bit of arrogance for a little while, and. Yeah, when it sort of not settled, but when it got to. It turned weird because I'd started doing battles and I'd show up and I couldn't get through a line without the whole room going mental.
Mad.
And then that sort of pissed me off.
Really?
Yeah, I know. And I know I sound
that shit up.
spoiled
No.
like that I'm, like, stop rating me. You're pissing me off. But like, it got to the point where I was like, I aren't getting this. This isn't deserved in the way that it was at first. Like, walking into a room and winning them over was such a better feeling than having a room full of my fans bumming me over a line that I haven't even got to the punchline yet. And it got to the point where I was like, have I hit, like, can this go any further?
Interesting.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to... Because I only wanted to do one battle in the beginning to promote my music.
Yeah.
And then the demand for the battles was so much bigger than the demand for the music that I ended up doing more battles. And then that was the point where I was like, nah, I need to remember why I started doing this.
It did feel like you...
Cut my losses at the... like I was.
It seemed like you were pissed off with it. There was a point where it was just like, and people, stop asking me where my battles were. I remember you did like
I was bare sour at that point, and I look back on it and I was like, you're being a tit, but it was frustrating in the sense of, and I shouldn't have seen it like this at the time, but I did. I wanted people to care about my music.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
why
that
not?
was my plan.
Yeah.
And I genuinely felt like I was saying better stuff in my music than I was on. And I didn't realise that some of them people don't even listen to hip hop music. Like, some of them are fucking metalheads who just like watching people shouting each other's face.
It's like they're watching a sports, like people who like football, they like battling. They don't know. It doesn't necessarily cross over with them. I'm not going to go listen to Fugees now.
It doesn't, but when I got to that point, I was like, nah, I need to remember what I did this for and get back on my music. And then all anyone wanted for a long time was just the battles. So I ended up being a bit of a dick about it when people had asked me, and like... I
remember you did a freestyle with Ball Z. You did a beatbox over it, and at the end you were just like, next battle out, the 900th of 20. Yeah.
So I did react to that a bit shitty in the beginning, and now I just look at it completely different. Like, I don't care if you don't like it set me up in music still, but I needed to have a bit more patience for that to happen. I thought it was going to like 100% cross over, and it didn't. Do you know what I mean?
I get you. So, because you were so, I think Suicide Sex was the next LP, EP, not an album,
and
project, mixtape.
It did fucking well. Like, the amount of downloads it got on its
downloads,
first,
that's
like, it went crazy. But because it was still like, the hype for the battles was, and it's my fault I cut it off like usually people want to see your downfall in battle rap as well as like they want to see you be challenged and they want to see you do the bit. And I get it, man. Like they want to see you go against fucking other people who they rate, and they want you to get challenged. And I just didn't give a fuck about that at that point. I was like, nah, I'm dipping before I lose, and quitting while I'm ahead, because I care about my music.
There's an argument to say that a lot of people you battled in those first 3 or 4, including the one with MAPA as well, were all kind of not at their best.
Nah, yeah, well, this is the thing. The battle scene wasn't though. Like, and it's crazy to think back, because I wanted to battle Sensor, who was the biggest. Like, he was like the most top tier battler at that point. Yeah. So I was just like, well, let me just battle him. Yeah. Get it done. Get it out the fucking way. I'm getting way more views than him. Yeah. He's classed as the best. So let me just battle him. Yeah. And then everything in between that just seemed pointless to me. And I had that arrogance where I'm like, nah, I should be able to skip everyone else and just battle him, because I'm getting more views than anyone on the channel. Yeah. And I have something to offer him. Yeah. And he just wasn't on it. And then like later tried to do a 2-on-2 with me as his partner. Right. But I was like, bro, you won't even battle me, so no. Like, right, yeah. So it was a bit weird. I don't know why. That's up to him to fucking explain. But I at the time wanted to battle the supposed best battle. Yeah, yeah. But there wasn't that. If you think back, bro, who the fuck was there who was like here? The people who are sick now, who was about then, wasn't rated like they are now. Do you know what I mean? I get you. So some of them battlers, and I fucking rate them for it, bro. And like, they're different to me. They've put in so much work that now they're insane. They're amazing at it. They're so experienced. They've done things that I never did. They put mad work in. They've battled all around the world. Sick. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like my thing was like, I did one battle and was gone. Like, I had built a fan base, and I had my own style. I wasn't trying to prove myself to other battlers and be big in that scene. Yeah. I was trying to like do something outside of that for my music. So I just didn't have that sort of passion to stay in that scene and, you know what I mean, establish myself.
So how did you find the transition? Because I mean, fundamentally, you're as soon as you battled Bloodstraw, all them CDs fucking sold out, Lunar CD. And then Suicide, as you say, you weren't massively happy with it, but the downloads were crazy, as you've said. Yeah. And then from then on, like the project, we kind of stopped working together at that point. 2012 was Suicide Sex, and then I stopped Sinoptic end of 2012, which is a good time for everyone, because I feel things were getting a bit tasty with you in terms of other people interested in you, and we didn't have a contract or anything, and I didn't want to feel like, well, I want some money, and I want a bit of HashFinger's money. There was just no point. We needed to all move on and just do our own thing, and I got to do my Flame Griller shit and all the rest of it. So we did our bits. But the next project after that, how did that feed in with the battling? Were you still getting good numbers? I'm trying to think what the project was after Suicide Sex.
Do you know what? The music carried on building from then. Like, every project, just it were getting. I was establishing myself, and people were getting used to the fact that I'm not going to be battling, and realizing that, like, you either don't like my fucking music or you do. And I built. It took me a long time for like, now. It got to the point then where there's fans who were like, oh, I don't even care about battles. Like, I had my own actual fans of my music.
Yeah,
and stuff,
we got into it through that. Yeah,
yeah.
Because you were getting all sorts of cool opportunities thrown at you, and loads of new people that you met, and celebrity friends and shit like that. Obviously, we've got our mutual acquaintance who lost his job at Coronation Street. Was off the back of like you battling that we met him, and he was a really sick guy and all the rest of it. But then also musicians as well. So I remember I remember recording a song not long before we kind of stopped working together. Tyler Daly, is it? Who's
Children of Zeus.
Children of Zeus. The shit became like one of the most successful.
A lot of that was like getting opportunities through like doing SBTV and Fire in the Booth.
And they did SBTV and all that, because I remember driving you down to that first one, that
Jamal
first 64.
Edwards, Rest in peace, Jamal
was
Edwards.
That all?
Too,
he really helped put you on the map with your bars as well. Like.
Well, a lot of that was MSM engineer, who's a massive engineer, does all like Skepta stuff. He's always been like, boy better know. He just came across my battles, and he just called me he hit me up on social media and was like, give me your number, I need to speak to you. Oh. And I was like, yo, what's happening? He was like, proper cool guy. He was like, mate, I don't know what I can do for you, but need to, like, people need to hear you, like, you're fucking crazy. And
these are the sort of
he was like,
opportunities you need from the battle.
Showed
like.
JME my stuff. JME's tweeted about me.
Yeah.
Fucking asked. It was like, what do you want to do? I was like, oh, I'd love to do SBTV. He was like, mate, I can sort that. Like, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, who's this guy? And then introduced me to Dot Rotten. And I used to go down and record at his.
You were in his crew for a bit, Min Army.
Yeah,
that was
everyone was in Min Army, to be honest.
I wasn't.
but like that was like a mad time, Min Army, bro, because it just, like, people from London to Scotland
were
just,
part
like,
of this thing, yeah.
He just was like bringing it, and which is crazy because at the time he had like songs in the charts and should have been focusing on his own fucking career. But he's such a cool fucking, like, he's such a cool guy where he just wanted to bring people in, and he was constant, like, had people in his house who he really didn't need to be fucking with.
Yeah.
Like, you'd go there and you'd just see like mad other rappers who you would never expect to be there, and he's just helping people when
I love that.
He really
Community
should have
vibe.
been focusing on his
own
and
shit,
it's not
but-
that he wasn't, like, he was doing massive things and
Some
killing
people
it.
are just a bit more community based with the way that they operate, and see that they can provide a bit of a platform. And truthfully, that is kind of how hip hop should work. And those people are so important. So big up Dot Rotten
man.
for being like that, man.
Nah, he's a proper cool guy. But yeah, I met some amazing people. Fucking made some good links, and a lot of it did stem from battle rap, bro. So yeah. Good decision.
Good decision to do it. Yeah, just to open doors. So like, yeah, I mean, you do seem to have just followed a really perfect line of like increasing your listenership and your interest, and the people you work with like get bigger and bigger, and the opportunities available to you are like, you know, most rappers dream in Dubai, like would dream to work with like Blah Records, put a record out on Blah Records, would dream to, you know, be able to work with High Focus and producers and Dirty Dyke and whoever the fuck, you name it. Anyone in UK hip hop right now, I mean, if you haven't done a track with them already, fuck me, you've done a track with Jess, do you know what I mean? It's just, it's madness what you've achieved in that time. Like,
this is the thing as well, and it because in the beginning I was getting opportunities that was so much beyond what I ever even aimed for, because like doing shit with Blah and doing shit with Jest is what I dreamed
of
when I was young.
If I'd have
bro.
told you you're doing a track with Jess when I first met you, then when you go all, you'll do a track with Jess. Like, fucking my brain would have melted, man.
Nah, of course, but then the stuff where I'm like I'm on Radio 1 and I'm fucking with all these guys who sort of are way, like, I don't know, that sort of almost teetering on commercial side of things was kind of uncomfortable because it didn't match up with the style of music I was making.
Now this is an interesting thing, and this is kind of where I kind of had to part ways with you musically, because I did feel like you were having to make decisions for your career that felt like that's not really your style. But at the same time, what chance do you have of getting on Radio 1 at prime time if you don't go down those routes? Because that's what the majority of people are listening to now.
Yeah, exactly. And I never made like pop music, but I definitely. Do you know what, bro? I'll be honest. Like, this is a mad thing because I had to really like have a word with myself at one point in that sort of space of time where I was like, I'm doing things because I feel guilty if I don't do them because, and this is gonna sound corny, but like, bro, from what I come from and the people I've grown up around and the lack of opportunities and stuff,
fuck yeah,
I felt like I was slapping those people in the face if I don't grasp that with both hands and fucking rinse it for all it's worth. Like, I was like, who the fuck am I to like turn? And bro, if I told you the things I have turned down, you'd get it. Like, because I did come to the conclusion of, look, this ain't me, so I can't do it. But there was a couple of tunes that I did where I'm like, nah, I have to try and make some of this just because of where I come from, and like I have to sort of secure this.
Seize that opportunity,
Seize the opportunity for sure, man. But I quickly realised that I was like, this ain't going to be sustainable. It's not me. So I'm never going to be this massive fucking commercial artist that people are expecting me to turn into. Like, so I did have to sort of cut my losses with that as well and just be like, nah, I'm going to do what I want to do. And either I get the opportunities or I don't. But it was a weird time, bro. Like, I felt like I was almost throwing something away at one point.
Yeah,
you know
at the risk of your bank account potentially as well,
oh,
innit?
man,
like,
massively. And like fucking like turning down, like I'm doing fucking meetings with Sony and Simon Cowell's label Psycho trying to get me on tunes with like these corny artists, and I'm like,
just to give them
I'm
some
broke.
credibility.
I'm my flat broke, bro. Like in a fucking, obviously, bro, I pay my rent with my music, and I have done for
Which is so fucking impressive.
I haven't done a day's work for over 10 years.
That's amazing.
And I've paid my fucking, do you know what I mean? I'm self-sufficient through
Brilliant.
music, and I value that more than having to do something that I don't want to do to have that a little bit more money.
Yeah,
do you know
that
what I
would
mean?
cheapen your brand massively. And,
Yeah,
like,
it
make you
wouldn't.
look stupid
It
potentially.
wouldn't have lasted as long. Do you know what I mean? So like, yeah, that's how it is. So I just went back to being like, nah, I want to do what I want to do, and bro, I'm blessed because, like I say, I make money from doing what the fuck I want.
Yeah, that's fucking sick, man. Fucking well impressive, mate. You recently did get back. We kind of fast forwarding a bit, but you did recently get back in the battle, and they seem to be flying you around the fucking world with that a bit. Is that for financial decisions, or did you just fancy going back into it a bit?
Yeah, it's never financial, man. Although I got paid really fucking well.
I
for
should
the last
fucking
couple,
hope so, mate.
Like the last couple battles that I did, yeah, I got paid really well. And obviously I got flown to Cali.
Sick.
Yeah, perfect. First few battles I did, well, the first run of battles I didn't get paid anything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then I did the O'Shea battle and was like, nah, I need to do the fucking. I need to get paid everything that I should have got paid in the beginning.
Yeah, of course.
for
A
this
lot of
shit.
views. Well, that's how you blew
So
them up,
yeah,
man.
like since then they've looked after me, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said the money wasn't a factor. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it just for that because I'd just be shit.
Yeah.
So I had to wait. Same like I'm talking about this project we're doing now. I have to wait until I really fucking want it to even bother. Do you know what I mean? Because I can't just half-ass things. So it was that I had to just wait till I get the bug back for battling. Do you know what I mean?
And that's what happened. You got the bug back, and it felt easier to be able to write all the frigging verses that you need to write for it and stuff, like, because you were feeling it more.
I'll like, man, it would be so terrible if you don't have that sort of drive to kill it. Like,
just be going through the
you're
motions.
Just dialing it in.
I think you could have,
motions.
like, you could have, but I think you've been right. You'd have. It wouldn't have been your best material, but you could have just battled all these years and collected money the whole time, and you could have done every fucking shit. You
gotta be careful though, because even the battle I did in America did not go how I expected it.
Really?
Yeah.
How so? May I ask?
Oh mate, well, it was 9 years since I'd done a battle.
Right. Yeah.
And I underestimated how little the American crowd would give a fuck about me. Like I was a bit deluded about how I was like, nah, I grew up watching Grind Time. It was like the return of Grind Time event, and Disaster hit me up like, I need you on this event. And you know from what we've been speaking about today,
how
like
much you
that's a
respected
massive
Disaster.
thing for
That's
me.
like the Eminem of battling, ironically.
Yeah.
But
and Grind Time, like Grind Time's coming
man.
back, and we need you on the first event. I was like, mate,
fucking let's have it.
and it's weird because at that time I was already like, I'm kind of getting the itch again, like watching battles again and stuff.
Yeah.
So it felt like it were meant to be. And then I've gone and done it, and then, like, halfway through my first round, I'm looking around the room like, these guys don't give a fuck about anything I'm saying. And it just sort of showed me that, like, I have such like a British style where, because if you look at the comments, they all like saying I won and like that I killed him.
Right.
But then in the room, it did not feel like
Didn't feel that way at all.
at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm saying like shit that I think is my best bars in the battle and getting air, and I'm looking around the room like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think that maybe it's that sense of humour that doesn't translate quite the same because you are quite dry with it. But at the end of the day, like, just as I don't really give a shit, but I did watch that battle as a sort of random observer, British comedy or not. Like, it felt like he was sweating. It felt like the whole time he was like just trying to catch up with you level wise. Like, but I know what you meant run wise. There was stuff that just didn't land that you were saying. That
and
I'm like,
some people have
what?
said that to me where it's like, oh nah, like you killed him and shit, and I'm like, yeah, but if you was in the room, it did not feel. And he's like he's a legend as well.
He's
like,
massively respected,
and
so
in
probably.
music as well. Like he's incredible.
Yeah,
and he's so consistent that like people are there to see him, and they want to see him kill it.
My favourite bit of that battle wasn't even on any of the verses. It was halfway through one of them where you both had a little argument about who sold the most units.
No, why? Because before the battle, right? This is the thing I learned from that battle as well. Like, you have to be a cunt. You have to be a cunt to battle, because I've come back to it forgetting all this, thinking, nah, I just need to be funny. I just need to do well, and like I don't really care what he's gonna say to me. Like, not thinking tactically at all. Just like, oh, I just need to put on a good show, whatever. I've looked at his music a little bit because you do research or whatever. Clicked on his Spotify, looked at his numbers compared to mine. I'm not going to mention what they are because I don't want to put. He is an amazing artist and I think his music's great.
Yeah.
But like I've looked at his numbers compared to my streaming numbers because it just says it on, and I'm like, oh, I should probably say something about that. And then I don't know, like I felt bitchy.
Yeah, it does
like,
feel like a bitchy
I
place
get
to go there.
this many,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, I just don't know if I'm there. Like,
Did you check his Deezer though? Maybe he's killing
yeah,
it.
like even to like discredit his, it just weren't my aim in the battle to be like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was a funny little tip for Tat.
And then
on
we've
the stage, like.
got to the battle, and he's like, nobody listens to your music.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm
you
like,
can't have that, mate.
Nah, fuck you.
We just
like,
get Spotify.
Yeah. And I was like, there's been a couple times in battles where, because that's shit. Really, you shouldn't be chatting during someone's verse, or you shouldn't.
Word.
But like, I have had a couple times where either someone said a lie about me that I know people are gonna believe, or like something like that, where I just can't keep my mouth shut. Like
Fair.
it's happened a couple times.
Yeah.
And it's bad. I shouldn't do that, but it is so annoying.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
someone
yeah.
says something and you're just like, "What the fuck are you saying?" Oh yeah. So we did have a little back and forth, man.
That was funny. Live shows, man. Like you, it's funny because like we were saying, I put you on a few gigs back in the day, and you were always eager to get on a mic, get on a show, perform and stuff like that. And that seemed to go from strength to strength as well. And you've done quite a lot of tours with some big names as well as your own tour. Is that paying the bills? And are you always constantly gigging? I haven't seen whether you got like many events going on.
Well, like I say, bro, I became pretty fucking kind of disillusioned with trying to even push myself in any way.
Yeah, talk to me about that, man. When did that come
recently.
in? Like, because recently is that all?
Man, no, not
Was it
really.
COVID
like,
sort of
the
area?
last couple. No, like I come out of COVID and I was on it, and I was doing shows, and I was fucking pushing myself and making new shit, and really excited about being able to do that. And I'd made the Blah album during lockdown. And
Fire album, yeah.
it was cool coming out of lockdown and stuff. I was on it. And then it just got to the point where, it's the project thing. Like I didn't have any drive to sort of make a new album and do anything. I was saying to you earlier, like going into an album process for me for the last 10 or so years has been spending the best part of a year making a project, releasing it, and not being asked to promote it for longer than a month, which just logically is not fucking. That's not gonna. It's not going to work as a business model or as a fucking, just in terms of promoting myself. I obviously, and that's me being shit at promoting myself and not doing the fucking.
It's tedious, isn't it?
Yeah,
So usually
TikTok
people have a
video
team of that
every day, rapping along to my own song.
Yeah.
All that shit now is the model of how you do things.
It's so necessary, all that shit.
And I've done it for like a week before, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just do a post a day and stuff like that, and it just don't last. It's just not me. Do you know what I mean? I'm rubbish.
You do. I mean, your social media is remarkable. Like because you're funny as fuck, and you've dicked around since like you joined Twitter in fucking a billion years ago. Like
I hate it now, so I don't do that anymore.
Do you hate all of that?
Yeah. Like,
Instagram and
do you know
all
what?
that?
I don't hate it. It's cool, and it's a blessing that I have a following on there, and I'm trying to get back to that point where. But I don't hate it right now. It's cool. I've started doing daft things online again, and I'm finding it fun again.
Because that shit used to get lapped up, man.
Yeah, and it's kept me afloat in terms of promo, and made me like self-sufficient through doing that. But for a long time, I just got fucking so bored of everything, to the point where, like I say about the album process, I didn't want to just do another rap album where I'm just jumping in the studio doing the same shit, begging people for fucking my style of beats and off like 10 different people and hoping that they match into it and all fucking can be cohesive on a project together.
Yeah,
in
don't
itself
excite
is
you anymore.
fucking a task, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Then I've got to write the shit and like I'm moaning about doing my fucking job, but like
no, but if it don't make your heart sing in the same way anymore, you want to write shit that you love, man. Yeah, I get that.
Exactly. And it wasn't till like this idea of doing shit with you and like some musicians and shit where I've had an idea that's inspired me.
Amazing.
So and I don't listen to a lot of rap music these days. I literally just listen to like fucking old soul music and shit like that.
Yeah.
And that's the shit that excites me. And
Dope.
so having the idea of being like, oh, I need to get in a studio and build some shit from scratch and be part of the process
Yeah.
with the musicians, like even though I'm not like bro, I'm the worst one in the room in
Decent
terms
guitarist, man. That jam we had was good, man.
Nah,
But you
we
wrote the thing that you write to. So you wrote the guitar riff that you ended up writing the bars to.
Nah,
so
do you know what though? That's giving me too much credit because I can do a few chords, but like that was amazing for me because I'm sat there, I'm doing a tiny little chord progression or whatever I'm capable of, and then everyone's just building it around me and it's turning into something, and then I'm having to adjust that to make it sound as good as what you guys are doing, and that is so exciting to me. Like that's amazing, and then coming out of that with like something to write to, that's to me now that's what's excited me about making music again, and it was even better than I thought it would be. Do you know what I mean?
That's
and
so sick to
obviously,
hear, man.
like reconnecting with making shit with you and HashFinger, and going back to sort of how I started making projects. That's a big part of it as well, man. So like
coming a full circle in a
yeah,
way,
exactly.
but like
It
after
feels
a lot
like
of learning.
full circle for sure, bro. And like obviously, like my mates too, bro. Like we hadn't like. Life goes separate ways sometimes.
Everything,
people, and,
shit gets in the way, doesn't it, man?
Yeah,
like,
and it's silly, bro. So like reconnecting in that way as well, like it's exciting, man. I'm enthusiastic about making a project. I feel like this could turn into my best projects. Do you know what I mean?
Sick. Well, fucking hell, let's hope so.
I'm
man.
excited. Yeah, so there's a lot of pressure for you there, mate.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll take it on board, man. Well, that's literally what we're going to do after this podcast. We're going to go jam some more shit and get it done for the next project, man. So yeah. Do you know what, Lunar C? I could probably sit here and ask you 4,000 more questions.
We should do another one of these, to be honest, bro.
Yeah, happy to. But I've had a really good day. It's been fucking sick to chat for you. Thanks so much for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me.
That was Lunar C. What a hero, a good friend of mine. It was sick to be able to get him to chat. I hope we get to chat again for a podcast or similar. Just a sick guy. We could have carried on for hours and hours and hours, I think, but it's just important to draw a line because there were people downstairs waiting to close up 1 in 12, yeah. So nice one, yeah. And as he alluded, my crew Jamettone, which is a collective of musicians making hip-hop instrumental music, mostly out of improvisation. We're working on a project with Lunar at the minute, and it's sounding really nice. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that one. Until next time, until next series, big up.